Whenever.
All right. We are live.
Let's
What
go.
is going on, fellas? If you're just getting in here, we haven't live streamed in a second, but I think that it's time we get back on the horse because we got Giants football tonight. About 30 minutes here. A lot to dive into as people start to trickle into the stream here. Want to hear what your thoughts are. Let us know in the comments section if you're early. Who are you looking out for? You know, what players do you want to see tonight? There's a lot of things that I really want to see, ranging from Daniel Bellinger to Kayvon Thibodeau. I want to see Daniel Jones, see how comfortable he is, Anthony. This is a guy who a lot of people, if you go on social media, Daniel Jones is being absolutely slaughtered all over social media. There is nobody that hasn't thrown their 2 cents into the mix at this point. How important is it for him to kind of show us that he can be comfortable in the system? He understands what's happening here. He feels comfortable. He's making the right reads. And honestly, what's going on, guys? Ski Mask Samson, Kayvon the dog. Alan, what's going on? A template. While the Giants are a favorite, the only reason they're favorites is the Patriots aren't starting any of their starters, so I'm not surprised. But Anthony, what do you think about Daniel Jones? And, what are you expecting from him tonight for at least a little bit of positivity afterward from the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting too much. Just want to see him go out there, like we mentioned in the pregame video yesterday, just talking about seeing him be comfortable, seeing him not make any stupid boneheaded plays, basically. That's what I need to see. Just have him command the offense, go out there, maybe call an audible, see how he gels in this new scheme, see what kind of concepts are being ran. That's what I'm really keen in on is the schemes tonight. I know it's only going to be a glimpse of what the scheme really is because they're not going to unlock everything until the regular season. They want to keep most of their plays and their scheme under wraps during the preseason, but it is still going to look different from what we saw last year regardless. Even if it isn't the full-blown new scheme, it's going to be just glimpses of it, and it's going to be different from last year. So I'm just curious to see what these play designs look like, how Daniel Jones feels about them, how he is able to play, off script, especially when things break down and the play isn't there. Can he extend the play? How does he do there? So that's really what I'm looking for from Daniel Jones, just comfortability in the new offensive scheme as they start to, kind of just ease into this new scheme. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be growing pains, but I'm excited to see it on the field nevertheless because, man, I think that this is going to be a real breath of fresh air for the Giants. I think this offensive scheme compared to the one that Jason Garrett was running, it should be a night and day difference, and I just can't wait to see it unfold.
Absolutely. So some people who are entering the chat now, Cisco Sanchez, I just want the offense to move the ball and make a touchdown. What's going on, my man? Philip, looking out for Evan Neal, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Kayvon Thibodeau. Robert, what is good? Let's go Big Blue Wrecking Crew. No starters for New England. Wars of Paradigm, unfortunately. So that's kind of tough for them. I mean, clearly, I've heard a lot of reports, actually, that the Patriots offense, entire team, actually, has been struggling a lot in training camp. Their offenses apparently look terrible. Their offensive line, terrible. Kayvon Thibodeau better feast against these backup guys on the Patriots. He should be an absolute monster. Cisco looking out for Darius Slayton. I'm sure he's going to get a lot of reps today. Davis Webb's going to play the entire second half. Tyrod will play the second quarter, and DJ probably most of the first quarter. They'll probably get 1 or 2 drives in there, depending on how long they are. But Gary, really appreciate the kind words. Definitely a lot of hard work this offseason, trying to get content out every day. But at the end of the day, we tried our best, got a lot of good stuff out, but now season's rolling around on social media. I will be posting all the highlights. So if you want to check out stuff and replays, I'll have all the big stuff there. And then tomorrow I'll condense all the film for you guys, the highlights that I do grab. And then, we'll show that on the channel and take a look at that. So we'll also get some game film as well. But what's going on, Sonny? David, I want to see Evan Neal and the whole offensive line. I would like to see DJ play at least 1 full quarter. Obviously, I want to watch both KTs. Kadarius Toney, unfortunately, will not be playing today. Anthony, how does that make you feel? Like already he has a leg or knee tweak. A lot of people definitely are freaked out about that. I honestly agree. I'm not concerned, but I am like, okay, let's he's getting injured every single time he's about to play in a regular season game, or rather in a preseason game. I would like to see him just kind of stay healthy. The knees are obviously a big concern with him. The ankles are a big concern with him. The moving, the agility, it definitely puts a lot of pressure on. But how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, and here's the main reason why. When you take a look at what the New York Giants have done all summer long, anytime there's been even a minor injury coming from any player on the Giants have just shut that player down and let them get healthy. That's been the case all summer. We saw that with Kayvon Thibodeau during the voluntary workouts. He had some sort of injury, completely shut down until he was ready. Daniel Bellinger was placed on the PUP list until he was ready. They like to shut these guys down and bubble wrap them because they know practice is one thing, but games in the regular season are another thing. And at the end of the day, preseason is technically just extended practice. So I think it's important for the Giants just to bubble wrap their players that might not be at 100% health. And if Kadarius Toney has, maybe a twisted ankle and he could play tonight, maybe if it was a regular season game, he would be playing. I'm not exactly sure, but it's probably just best to let him heal, let him rest up. You don't want him to aggravate anything and make it worse come the regular season. So I think it's the right decision on the part of the Giants. Absolutely, just to keep him out of the preseason game. And I don't think that him being held out of the preseason game says too much about the injury. I don't think that it says it's severe. I don't think it says that he's going to have trouble this upcoming season. I think that it simply just says the Giants are going to continue to be cautious until the regular season rolls around. And even then, they might still be cautious because it's just best for player safety and player health. So I think that's really what my takeaway is. I think this falls in line with everything Brian Dable and new coaching staff has done all throughout the summer in terms of helping injured players rehab. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing here with Kadarius Toney. Another thing, though, Alex, that I am paying attention to tonight is the quarterbacks of the New England Patriots. If you didn't know, the quarterbacks coach over in New England is Joe Judge. So familiar face there. So I'm curious to see how the quarterbacks perform. You mentioned it. The offense has been struggling at Patriots training camp. Mac Jones hasn't looked the best this summer, but I'm curious to see, I know Mac Jones won't be playing, but how do the quarterbacks behind him play with Joe Judge? And I'm sure that the broadcast is going to mention and cue in on Joe Judge for a little bit. So I think that's something I'm a little curious for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, it seems like Joe Judge, wherever this guy goes, just some issues follow. But I'll tell you what, this is an interesting situation for the Giants because they're going up against second stringers, which logically would indicate they should be able to dominate them, right? Like the Giants are going up against their own first team defense during training camp, during practice. This is the second string Patriots defense, at least as far as I'm concerned. And maybe they're going to play the starters on defense. But if they don't, this offensive line needs to show me something. This offensive line needs to show a little bit more competency. I think they're going to really rely on some running games. Maybe they'll get Saquon a couple of runs, but I don't think they're going to risk him. I think there may be one drive for the starters. And then you're going to see them take out a bunch of those, primary ones. Like Andrew Thomas will probably be taken out. I imagine maybe Evan Neal will be taken out. I think he kind of needs the experience right now, so maybe they'll keep him in. I think that they take Saquon out. They'll probably put in Matt Breida. Bellinger, I think, needs the experience, so he'll probably stay in. But you know what? This is kind of like a good test for some of these younger guys. We know what Andrew Thomas can do. We know what these more veteran experienced guys can accomplish. So I want to see the youngsters, man. And just to answer a couple of people in the chat, what's going on, Nova? How you doing, my friend? That's why they drafted Robinson, because I guess maybe they didn't draft him because you can't trust Kadarius Toney, but rather he's like a really good guy that can fit him multiple different hats. He can wear many hats for this offense, extension to the running game. You can put him out wide, you can put him in the slot. We've seen him actually lined up in the backfield at running back a couple times with Daniel Jones. You can use him in those interesting wildcat formations with Saquon and Kadarius, which is going to be super fun. Jay, really appreciate it. Definitely make sure to hit that like button for us. Really appreciate the love as always, my friends. And Charles, let's go Big Blue. Absolutely. Should Danny Dimes play at least a full quarter to get prepared for the regular season? Anthony, I'll let you respond to this as well. I definitely think that he should be playing a full quarter. He needs to get every single minute of experience without risking injury that he can get to get more comfortable in this offensive system.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It's best to just get him comfortable with the offensive scheme. That's what I mentioned, in my last section speaking. So the thing with Daniel Jones is I'm not necessarily looking at, is he throwing the ball downfield? Is he scoring a bunch of touchdowns? It's more just about how is he settling into the new offensive scheme? How are the play calls designed? Is it to his strength? Is it to his weaknesses? I doubt he's going to take any quarterback runs in this game just to keep him bubble wrapped. If he gets out of the pocket, expect him to just take a knee, go ahead and slide, get down to the ground, that kind of thing. I do think, though, it is important. I agree with you. Daniel Jones should play a significant amount of time in tonight's game. He does need to get used to playing in this offensive scheme against regular opponents, not against practice players on the Giants, but up against New England Patriots players, and whoever else, the New York Jets, all these guys that we're going to be facing in the preseason. I think that it's important for Daniel Jones just to see some different defensive schemes than the one that he sees in practice and get settled into the offense so we can ramp up towards the regular season and have him already be comfortable and ready to go. Now, again, like I mentioned earlier, they're not going to be running all of the regular plays that you're going to see in the regular season because they want to keep that stuff under wraps. So there's still going to be growing pains even when we get to the regular season, but still they can try and iron out some of that stuff, some of that junk right now in the preseason with Daniel Jones and just get him comfortable. And it takes a little while to get comfortable in a new NFL offensive system. We've seen that time and time again. Some quarterbacks, it takes a little bit of time to adjust. There's new verbiage, new signals to call, completely new play designs. So it's going to take a little bit of time for Daniel Jones. And I'd rather him take that time making those mistakes right now in the preseason than in the regular season when those games fully count.
Yeah, absolutely. But what's going on, Mika? Out of Switzerland, tuning in. Definitely a little bit late there, so maybe like a 1 a.m. game start time for you. So we'll keep you updated, of course, with the highlights on social. Gary, who are you guys looking forward to watching tonight? I think that the younger guys I really want to see, because we know what Andrew Thomas can do. We know what some of these guys are capable of, and I think that seeing Evan Neal, what can he do in pass protection? That's my big one. What can Evan Neal do in pass protection tonight? We know he's going to carve out some some good running lanes for Saquon and Matt Breida. But what can he do in pass protection? He's been beat up a little bit this camp. He's had some struggles. Lunging, a lot of the same things that I noticed from Andrew Thomas actually when he was a rookie, being a little bit too over aggressive, being a little bit too leaning forward. His feet weren't set. I'd really like to start to see Evan Neal, just kind of sit back, play that kind of conservative, sit back and be, waiting and mirroring. You see Andrew Thomas against Kayvon Thibodeau, the way that he protects the insides, sits back, and really just waits for that pass rusher to make the first move and then reacts and is really good at reacting accordingly. I like Evan Neal to kind of just not be overly aggressive, because I feel like that's when Andrew Thomas got the most beat. And remember Eric Flowers, he was beat up pretty badly because he was being too aggressive. And Mike, I really appreciate the love. Thank you so much. Really means the world to us. So we'll definitely be doing more live streams as the season progresses here. We'll do a post-game show that we'll record and post to you guys ASAP, so you have some our takeaways. And then every week we'll be doing a live stream pre-game, and then if it's a really good game, we'll do a live stream post-game as well. But definitely some good stuff here. Josh Azudu for sure. That's a big one. I don't know if he's playing today. He was questionable, so I don't know how much action he's going to get. Maybe a couple snaps here and there. But definitely a guy I really want to see. I also want to see Shane Lemieux. Shane Lemieux at left guard. That's a spot that is up for grabs, but he has been penciled into that, left guard one spot. Anthony, what are you thinking about Shane Lemieux? I think this is a good opportunity for him to really showcase what he can do and really show that chemistry he's built with Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, I mentioned it in our last episode. The number one player that I am watching tonight is Shane Lemieux. I'm really excited to see how he does. Starting at left guard last year, enters the season as the starting left guard, plays only 12 snaps, blows out his knee, and is done for the year. Super unfortunate situation. And like I said, in his rookie season, he was far from a good football player as far as NFL standards go. He really did not play up to the starting caliber that you would like to see from your left guard. Year two, everyone's hyped. They're like, can he improve? And then he just doesn't even get a year two. Super crappy start to Shane Lemieux's career. But here he is once again in year three. He's got another shot at the starting position. So I'm excited to see how he performs this year. I'm really, really curious to see if the Giants have a complete offensive line, because I think they've got someone complete at right tackle, at right guard, at center with John Feliciano, at left tackle with Andrew Thomas, absolutely. But that left guard spot is a major question mark for me. So I'm very curious to see if Shane Lemieux is the answer to the question. If not, let's see if Joshua Azudu plays tonight. Is he playing? I'm not completely sure. I know he was injured this week in practice, but I'm curious to see how he performs at any point during this preseason and see if any kind of position battle begins there. But primarily what I'm looking for is just to see Shane Lemieux kind of up his game and see if he really does look like that new and improved player that we're hoping for him to be.
Absolutely. So Bronx Bomber, I'm really hoping to see some solid offensive play. Is there any word on Andrew Thomas? So right now, according to Dan Duggan on Twitter, this is the O-line in warm-up so far. So left tackle, Andrew Thomas, left guard, Shane Lemieux, John Feliciano at center, Glowinski at right guard, and Neal at right tackle. So everyone is practicing in the warm-ups, which is definitely a good sign that maybe they'll get some action. The second team, Hamilton at left tackle, Josh Azudu at left guard, Bredesen at center, Douglas at right guard, and then McGinn at right tackle. Hamilton, McGinn, definitely new players. And then the third is Mbeteka. I don't know how to say his name, actually. He's the Nigerian international player that has a really good relationship with Justin Tuck. So that's really cool. Hopefully he shows some good stuff there. Rivas at left guard, McGinn at center, Garcia at right guard, and Holden at right tackle. So it looks like Max Garcia has been relegated all the way to the third string right guard. So that's definitely an interesting one. I don't necessarily think that's good for his stock. He probably wants to be a little bit better than third string. I mean, he was a Pro Bowl alternate last year. I don't understand how the hell he dropped so far on this weak Giants offensive line, and he's already on the third string. So that's pretty interesting. Definitely something to be a little bit wary of. But Andrew Thomas, he's practicing, so maybe he'll get a couple snaps. That'll definitely be fun. Seb, I'm beyond excited for tonight. Good to have the Giants football back. Absolutely, my man. I am so excited to have Giants football back. It's been a really long offseason, guys. The Yankees have kept me a little bit preoccupied, but I'll tell you what, this is definitely really an interesting season for us. We're entering a stage where, with Joe Judge, with Dave Gettleman, we were always kind of like, I felt like we were stuck in the past. Right? Like it's definitely tough to see like how we didn't modernize our offense in front office. But sorry, OC, my bad. It's in Raka. That's my bad. So it was OC Manure that actually was sponsoring Embiteka. So that's my bad. But at the end of the day, I actually do think that like the modernizing of this offense, Brian Dable, Joe Shane, they've done a lot to kind of elevate us back up to a status that we're not looking like dinosaurs anymore. Like we're at the front line again. Like we're ready to kind of compete and showcase that we're doing things in a modern aspect, in a modern way. And I think that's definitely a really optimistic viewpoint for this Giants team moving forward. Anthony, how important do you think it is just to be kind of modernizing our analytics system, and just everything about our team is taking a step forward? So I do hope that that kind of translates to wins in the near future.
Of course, that's always the hope, man. Any change, you hope it brings about more wins in football. And I think that becoming a more modern and progressive, forward thinking team is super important, just to try and gain that statistical, analytical edge that can never hurt you. All the best teams in the league right now, they use analytics, they use those kind of extra stats that you don't see on PFR, Pro Football Reference, those extra stats that you get from data analytics. Those are the things that they use to make decisions in game, post game, pre game, all that kind of stuff. And I do think it's super important for the Giants to incorporate that stuff into the way that they scheme their offense, their defense, and their game plan in general. So, yeah, I definitely think it's important. And, with Brian Dable coming from Buffalo, that they were a modern and progressive NFL team. Of course, Joe Shane, he used to work in an analytics department. He also used to work in a tickets booth. So he's really worked his way all the way up. I love Joe Shane, and I think that he's done a phenomenal job building this team. And I think that his mindset in terms of how to build a football team is correct. And it's really exciting for me. I think that it's going to be a real breath of fresh air watching this new era of the New York Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the base defense that Art Stapleton just tweeted out. First, the Pats: Dexter Lawrence, Jalen Holmes, DJ Davidson, Kayvon Thibodeau, Jaheed Ward, Darian Beavers, Tay Crowder, Adoree Jackson, Aaron Robinson, Xavier McKinney, and Julian Love. So no Leonard Williams tonight. No Azeez Ojulari. Not surprised. Is Darnay Holmes in there? I don't see Darnay Holmes. So no Darnay. Unless he meant to say Darnay Holmes instead of Jalen Holmes. I'm not sure about that. So, some guys missing, but we still get to see Adoree Jackson, still get to see Kayvon Thibodeau, no Blake Martinez, of course. I would love to see Xavier McKinney and Julian Love. They're probably not going to play much if I was to guess. But Mika, yeah, absolutely. If you guys want stickers for the FSG, Fireside Giants, hit me up on Twitter. With your address and stuff, obviously on the side, and I'll send them to you. I have already prepaid envelopes ready to go. So I got you guys covered if you want to do that. Cartman, let's go Mets. Absolutely not Yankees all the way, baby. Although I will say Max Scherzer and DeGrom are absolutely badass, and I'm very jealous of you for having those two absolute monsters. But Rib, I don't know who exactly would want Judge anyone near their team right now. Definitely a lot of bad juju coming from the Yankees. Or rather coming from the Giants. So, this is interesting, guys. Fireplace Gaming, what is up? We are doing well. Hope everyone here is doing awesome. Definitely back, and I'm really excited to see what this team has to offer today. I got to say, the defensive side, I'm pretty optimistic about. Like, having a really aggressive, like, this defense is going to be polarizing opposite from last year, guys. We had the bend don't break defense last season. We were just trying to stop guys from getting into the end zone. They would move all the way down the field, tire our defense out, and then we would basically just settle for a field goal. They'd make them settle for a field goal. This defense is going to be different. We're going to get beat over top a couple times here and there. Not so much with Xavier McKinney, because he has just unbelievable range, as I showed the other day on my Twitter account. He actually clipped the All-22 film, and he absolutely showed just ridiculous range. He's going to be such a stud for us this year. But I will say, having this aggressive mentality, we're just going to send more numbers than they can block at the end of the day. So, that's kind of what the strategy is going to be. Overwhelm them with numbers, man coverage, one deep safety, a little bit of hybrid and stuff. It's going to be a little bit hybrid scheme, just a little bit more, some zone coverage here and there. But this is going to be fun, man. This is going to be really interesting to see. It's going to be a fun defense. What are you expecting from Wink Martindale's defense early on?
I'm expecting him not to show too much, to be completely honest. I do think they're going to send some blitzes here just to give everybody a taste of it, get them used to the flow, the high speed, everything like that. So I do think we're going to see some pretty creative blitzes, but nothing too crazy. He's going to keep most of that stuff under wraps for the regular season. Wink Martindale is a great, proven NFL coach. He was a head coach candidate for the New York Giants a couple of years ago. We know what we have in store with Wink Martindale. He is a very good coach, and I'm excited to see him manufacture some pressure tonight. And I think that is something that we should expect from him, especially with Kayvon Thibodeau going out there. I can't wait to watch Kayvon Thibodeau hit the field. That's something that I'm almost more excited for than anything. I'm really hoping we get to see him get a sack tonight. That would be freaking phenomenal if we got to see Kayvon Thibodeau get in the backfield and wreak some havoc. So that's what I'm hoping for, man. And I do think that, when you're taking a look at the defensive side of the ball, one player that I'm really disappointed won't be joining us in the preseason is Dane Belton. He's not going to play at all during the preseason as he rehabs from the broken collarbone that he suffered during practice. Super unfortunate situation. I thought that he was going to be really exciting to watch play in Wink Martindale's defensive scheme, and I thought preseason was the perfect time for him to get acclimated to the new scheme. Unfortunately, though, no Dane Belton as he's still dealing with the broken collarbone. But there are still some other players that I'm really excited to watch tonight. Yusuf Corker, safety out of Kentucky, undrafted free agent that the New York Giants signed, has been very impressive during training camp, and I'm really excited to see him hit the field. He's got the green dot on his helmet, so the players are going to be going from Wink to him, and I'm really curious to see how he handles that responsibility as an undrafted free agent rookie. So that's definitely someone that I'm keeping a close eye on in tonight's matchup against the Patriots.
Yeah, Yusuf Corker's interesting out of Kentucky. He's a big dude. He's a hard-hitting safety. He's an undrafted free agent, man. If you have an undrafted free agent as a rookie coming to make an impact, that's a huge bonus to your defense, your team in general. And John, crazy there in Italy. Awesome. Really jealous that you're in Italy. But we will be doing a breakdown. We'll be doing a short recap after the game. And then tomorrow we'll really dive into some of the more interesting breakdowns, some of the more interesting, plays and situations that I clipped from today's game. So this will be a pretty well covered thing on Fireside Giants. We got you covered there. And Ski Mask, absolutely. If you're playing Madden, you just blitz, and hopefully the guy you're playing does not know how to get through his progressions fast enough. And that's how I always lose, because I don't do that. I'm like Daniel Jones of Madden. I can't get through my progressions. I stare down receivers. But Silent Cam, this has been lack on the D side of the ball. Going to be great to have the Big Blue defense really going after it. We haven't had like an aggressive defense like this in probably like a decade. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, even when Landon Collins was there, we had some aggressive moments, but like it was really back when we had like OC, we had Tuck, we had Antonio Pierce. Like, we really put the pressure on. We had the NASCAR package. We did some really fun stuff in terms of generating pressure. And I think now the Giants are going to be, if you've watched Wink Martindale's defense, it's like going to the firing range, man. Like, these guys are just constantly shooting the gaps, right? They're constantly making moves, overwhelming with numbers. It's going to be fun to watch. But I don't think the defense is going to be a problem. I think our offense and the installment of the new scheme and the new verbiage. This is Daniel Jones's third offensive system in 3 years. This is a lot to handle for him. Like, it took Josh Allen years to get accustomed to Brian Daboll's system. It took him years to get, kind of where he needed to be an elite level quarterback. Daniel Jones has 1 year, and yes, he has experience in the NFL, but he has experience in like the oldest systems in the book, right? Pat Shermer's system was okay. And then you had, Jason Garrett's system that he found behind a dumpster, like behind a Wendy's somewhere. And he just was like, let's do it. Let's see what happens. And it was probably one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And I don't even want to remind myself, to be honest with you, just the amount of hook routes that we witnessed could put someone to death. Like, it was just absolutely abysmal. But I think that what we're going to see a lot more now is manufactured production from Wan'Dale Robinson, from Kadarius Toney. Sterling Shepard's making an awesome comeback. He should be healthy in the coming days, in the coming weeks. Hopefully, they're saying that he could actually be healthy by the start of the regular season, which would be unbelievable. And Gary, you said I want Colin Johnson to make the team. How do you guys feel about him? He's like the tallest. I think he's actually the tallest receiver in football. So when you have a guy that big, he definitely has some good moments. Tyrod Taylor, I remember one clip. He had a diving catch down the sideline, and it was awesome. Really nice deep ball from Tyrod Taylor. But, this is going to be fun, guys. There's going to be a lot of takeaways from this. We'll make sure to document it all, and we'll get you guys all the necessary information. Anthony, I guess what's your projection, your last projections before we wrap up here and we jump over to the game?
I don't really know how to do a score projection for preseason, to be honest, because it's always like whose backups are better than whose backups. And I don't really know that much about the New England Patriots backups. So can't really do a score projection. But one thing that I'll say, I'm expecting to see a lot of Wan'Dale Robinson tonight. I think keep a close eye on him. I could even see him scoring a touchdown. If not him, maybe Daniel Bellinger. I think they want to get these young rookies really involved and comfortable with the speed of the NFL game. I do think it's a great advantage for the New York Giants to be going up with their starters in this preseason game versus the Patriots, who do not have their starters, because it makes it easy for everyone to just practice and get comfortable. And that's what the preseason is for. It's an easy opponent for the Giants starters that are a bit questionable, and we're not completely sure how they're going to gel together with a new scheme and a new completely rebuilt coaching staff. So I think it's a nice advantage for the Giants. Something to take advantage of is the fact that the Patriots won't be playing their starters. So they can call their plays. They can watch Daniel Jones go up against weaker opponents, hopefully look impressive against the weaker opponents, because if he doesn't, that's going to be pretty concerning. But it's nice to have him with the ability to just ease in. This is an easy walk in the park for everybody, going up against backups when they're starters. That's really what I'm looking for. So I'm projecting that the Giants probably should win the game. They should score more points because they're going up with ones against twos. So hopefully that is the case. But again, projections for specific players. I think Kayvon Thibodeau's getting a sack tonight. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is going to turn some heads and really surprise a lot of people. And I also think keep a close eye on Daniel Bellinger. I think he could have a pretty good game.
Absolutely. So, my friends, we're going to jump over to the game right now, but hopefully you enjoy this first preseason game for the New York Giants against the New England Patriots. A lot of fun stuff about to happen, the start of a new season, and we're hoping for a much better one than last year, where we're definitely not QB sneaking on second and third down. So this should be a lot better. Saquon Barkley seems to be healthy. The game is on NBC, Micah, so make sure to go check that out. I'll be posting the clips throughout. But hope you guys enjoy this game. We'll catch you guys on the post-game show, and enjoy it. This is the first day of a long season, but hopefully it's a much better one.